back to Winning Isn't Easy. Let's talk about the 7 mistakes that you can make during a functional capacity evaluation that's been ordered by your long-term disability carrier or plan. Now, if you're receiving your benefits, you might be surprised to learn that the disability carrier plan has the right to have you undergo a test called a functional capacity evaluation. And that FCE can make or break your claim. So I want to talk about the 7 mistakes that you can make during that FCE. Mistake number 1 is assuming that you have to attend an FCE. Why do I say that? Well, your disability policy or plan may not actually require you to undergo a functional capacity evaluation, and don't be surprised if they insist that you have to go when the plan or policy doesn't say anything about that. Now, if they don't have the right, you can push back, but you can expect that the carrier will then ask you to undergo a not so independent medical evaluation. So they're going to get you coming or going, if you will. Every disability policy or plan has in the policy or plan language that says they have the right to have you undergo a IME, and that's Plan B. Now, mistake 2 is ignoring instructions. If you ignore the evaluator's instructions about how to perform the test, you can literally screw up the results of the test. That can result in the assessor, the FCE assessor, finding that you have a higher level of functionality than in fact you really do. If you don't understand what the evaluator is asking you to do, ask them to repeat it, or better yet, have them demonstrate what it is they want you to do. Mistake number 3 is pushing through the pain and not effectively communicating your pain level. Now, despite the fact that your physician has addressed what they think your functional restrictions and limitations are, that generally is not always enough for the carrier to pay the benefits or to continue to pay the benefits, because they're always looking for a reason to deny or terminate benefits. Now, the FCE is going to determine how long you can sit, stand, stoop, walk, bend, lift, whether you have any manipulative restrictions, whether you have the need to take breaks. And this exam should last between 2 and 4 hours. The examiner is going to extrapolate those findings to an ability to do full-time work on a 40-hour basis. And one of the ways or games that the provider will play with you during the exam is to try to get you to admit that you can work full-time, or that they're going to try to push you to go beyond your tolerances and then extrapolate that into an ability to do a full-time job. Now, if they push you, you should simply tell them that you will do what you're physically capable of based on your pain level and what your doctor has reported to you as your restrictions and limitations. So you don't want them to push you. If you're in pain, tell them that you're in pain and tell them your pain level. Now, pain levels can go from 1, or actually from 0 to no pain, to 10, you're dying, okay? And you're in the emergency room. And you might start out with a certain level of pain, and it will increase over the course of the FCE. I want you to make sure that you are not exaggerating, that you're being truthful. Every person's pain level is different, but if you're reporting as you walk in, you're in a 9 or a 10, that's going to be considered exaggeration. So think about your pain level scales and be honest about that. Now, if you don't give full effort, the opposite can happen. And that's the mistake number 4. And that's not giving your best and full effort. If the doctor has assigned restrictions and limitations to you, you should bring a copy of those restrictions to the FCE provider before you begin the testing, so that the FCE provider doesn't violate those restrictions and limitations. Now, you do have to undergo the testing and you do have to give your best effort, but you shouldn't necessarily exceed your restrictions and limitations or be being pushed through your pain. There are validity tests that are built into the functional capacity evaluation, and the FCE provider can tell if you're not giving full effort. And one of the things you'll be asked to wear is a heart monitor that will monitor your heart rate. And so if you're not giving full effort, they're going to report that, and ultimately the carrier can say, well, you didn't give full effort, and we're going to deny the claim. Now, also, be careful of this little trick. FCE providers may test parts of your body that are not involved in the disability claim, and let them test it. So, if you got a problem with your right arm, they may test your left arm. Give full effort on both your right and your left arm. Got it? Okay. Now, mistake number 5 is questioning whether or not you should take medications before the FCE. Generally, I suggest that you don't take your pain medication when you undergo the FCE. Other attorneys suggest that you do. So there's this disagreement. There's no right or wrong answer. I would suggest that you ask your doctor what they think, but certainly you should be telling the FCE provider whether you've taken medication, how long ago you took the medication, how you feel, and make sure that they understand where you're at your pain levels, as I've discussed. I also think that if you haven't taken your medication and you have the FCE and you have increased pain, even after taking your pain medication, you want to keep a diary of that. Conversely, if you have taken the pain medication and you have increased pain after the FCE, I think you should still keep a diary documenting what your increased symptoms are and any difficulty with functionality. So in either event, I think keeping a diary after the FCE can be really important. And you can supply that to the treating physician and to the disability carrier as documentation of the impact of the functional capacity evaluation on your symptoms and your ability to function. Now, mistake number 6 is thinking that FCE provider is your friend. You can be assured that the disability carrier or plan's functional capacity evaluator is not your friend. You have to be very careful about what you say to the disability insurance carrier, the adjuster, your employer, even sometimes your doctor, and certainly your own physical therapist. But that also holds true with the functional capacity evaluator. What's crucial here is that you are being consistent with your report of symptoms and functionality. If you say that you can only sit for 5 minutes and during the course of the functional capacity evaluation, during the intake, you sit for 15 or 20 minutes while they ask you questions, that's obviously inconsistent. So any inconsistency between what you say you can do, what's reported in your records, and what you actually do can be the basis of a claim denial or termination. Why? Well, the FCE provider is going to write down in their report what you tell them, and they will comment on any discrepancies, particularly as it impacts the results of your testing. So if you say that you can't push or pull more than 10 pounds, but there's video of you coming out of Costco, pushing and pulling a cart that's stacked full of heavy stuff like cases of water, that's not going to be consistent. So remember that you've got to be consistent. And mistake number 7 is not videotaping the functional capacity evaluation or bringing a witness. Now, I know there's a fight about this. I always ask that the FCE be videotaped, and some will allow it, some won't. Some will say that the testing is proprietary, that video violates the testing protocol. I think that's a very weak reason on their part, but if they object, then plan B is to say, well, I want to bring a witness. Now, they may say, well, you can't bring anybody off the street, but we'll allow you to bring a nurse consultant. And if that's the case, then you probably need to hire a nurse consultant to come in as an independent witness to watch that FCE and prepare a report. They're going to take contemporaneous notes about how it was conducted, how each specific test was conducted, how you did, what you reported, what your complaints of pain were, and their observations of your effort. So you can see that you can easily make at least 7 mistakes in an FCE that can result in a claim denial or termination. Let's take a break, but I want to let you know that in the next session, I'm going to be talking about the 7 ways that the carrier or plan is going to use the results of that FCE to deny or terminate your benefits. Got it? Let's take a break.
Professional with questions about your individual disability policy? You need the Disability Insurance Claim Survival Guide for Professionals. This book gives you a comprehensive understanding of your disability policy, with tips and to-dos that will assist you in submitting a winning disability application. This is one you don't want to miss. For the next 24 hours, we're giving away free copies of the Disability Insurance Claim Survival Guide for Professionals. Order yours today at disabilityclaimsforprofessionals.com.